Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and his son Yahusha HaMashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo, aka King Solomon, and today I'm going to do a trade recap on my trade on Tesla. I had a one and done trade on Tesla today, so let's jump into it. Let's pull out the arrow. All right. So today on the money zone, we have a higher value relationship. This is the value area high of yesterday. Today's value area low is here. So let's get some levels on that. So approximately 114.40, that was yesterday's value area high. Today's value area low is approximately 121.06. So in this kind of setup, the indicator is suggesting that we should have a bullish run today. It should be something like a gap up open and looking for like a trend day kind of vibe, right? But this is the thing about the indicator is either price action is going along with the indication or it's going against it, right? So you could trade it either way. The strategies are is either it's accepting the indicator or it's rejecting the indicator, right? So yesterday at around, let's say 1:30, we had this Tesla started to sell off, right? And it basically sold off into the close. So even though we have a gap up relationship, sorry, not a gap up relationship, but a higher value relationship on the money zone, we have to take into consideration that we sold off yesterday, right? So taking that into consideration, we had a gap up open today. Let me just kind of make this a little bigger. Right. So we had this gap up open from the close yesterday. The close was here, 119.77. And then we had this gap up of, let's see, we kind of open at the value area low right here. Right. So with this, it's still kind of, it's moderately bullish, right? Because we're having a gap up open. But I guess you could just take like a 5-minute ORB and you could like shoot for like value area high and looking for the breakout, right? But the fact that we're opening within the price range, even though it's a gap up open, because we have to consider the sell-off yesterday, right? So even though it's a gap up open, we're still within the price range. So for me, I was still looking for like a kind of rejection somewhere around this level. And if I'm going bullish, I want to clear the price range. So I'll take the breakout of the value area high, right? So we didn't get up there. We had this rejection at the POC level, right? This is the POC level right there. Excuse me. And then we had the breakdown of the value area low, had this big sell-off candle. And then let's see. Let me go to my execution platform. All right, so I kind of waited until like the value area, I mean the initial balance low around 10:30 to take my trade. Now, the reason I waited so long is because of the indication of it being a bullish setup with the money zone, and I just kind of waited to see how price action would it actually break below the price action of yesterday, right? So I was a little cautious. I could have actually taken probably the breakdown of the value area low over here at around 120.96, right? But I'd still be at risk of the buyer stepping in right here at the close of yesterday. So I let that play out. it kind of consolidated here for a little while. And let's see, right? So it consolidated here for a little while, right? We pushed up and tried to attack VWAP, got the rejection of VWAP, and I guess I could have taken this as well, right? Because it's still within the price range, but I don't know. I was just being a little more cautious, man. I was just waiting for it to clear the price range. So even though we rejected VWAP, I didn't take the trade right here. Like these are trade setups, right? So you could take the break of VWAP here. You know, you could take it here, like the break of this candle low. When it rejects pullback, you could take the breakdown from VWAP, and then you could take the breakdown of the initial balance low. So I took the last trade, which is the last setup for me anyway, which is the breakdown of the initial balance low at 117.19. And then let's see, I took a partial here at around 115.65. And well, I took half of the position at 116.65, and 115.81 was the covered all. So let's see, basically I was looking at this candle here as well, right? Like during the trade, you could see that most of it in the volume candle was selling, right? And even though it's a tight candle, I was looking for like the reversal, because even though we're selling off, the initial balance low is being set around 10:30, 10:45, because you see at 10:45 we actually had the reversal, right? So it's certain times where you have the initial balance low around the first hour of trading, and this is around the first hour of trading, 10:30, 10:45. So you gotta start looking. Even though I'm taking this breakdown, I'm taking the breakdown because I'm seeing heavy bids being hit on the bid, right? A lot of, well, my time and sales is set up where when the bid is hit, it's a lot of purple colors coming through, right? It's color coordinated, and I have my bid set at purple. So when I see a lot of big bids being hit, like 1,300, 5,000, you know what I mean? That means initial participants like are hitting the market order to push the price lower. So they were supporting the break of the initial balance low. So this was not, the initial balance low was not set here, right, at 10:30. So they got the push down, they pushed down, and then I started to see the buyers, like it's more than covering, because when you look at the time and sales, you would see they start to hit the offer, and you would see, well, okay, they're just taking a little profit. But to me, around this area, I started to see more than taking profit. I'm starting to see like responsive buyers taking big sizes, right? They're taking big positions. So at one point in time, I think I saw like, I think it was something like 89,000 shares, like a buy. And I was like, man, nah, man, this ain't, I can't see somebody taking 89,000 shares and they not getting the move, you know what I'm saying? So at that point I was like, let me jump out. So that's why I covered, you know. So you really got to read the time and sales, and read the order book, the level 2. Let me show you another setup here using the pivot levels, the central pivots. Now looking at the central pivots, right? These are these lines right here. The dark green, the blue is the pivot level, dark green is the bottom central pivot, but sometimes it flips to the top, right? But it's the bottom central pivot. And this is the top central pivot, the red line. Hold on one second. right? So looking at that setup there, it's a higher value relationship, and it's actually a tighter range. So that's suggesting that it's a breakout, right? It should have a breakout, because if it's a tighter range, price is able to break through it easier. So, or break out from it easier. So this had a wider range yesterday. Let me just use the arrow, point that out. Right, you can see the wider range compared to today, which is very narrow. Right, so within this setup here, we had the gap up above the pivot range, but we came back, test the bottom central pivot. Let me make that a little bigger. I think you don't really see that too good. Yeah, that should be it. Right, so we had the open right there, and then we tested the bottom central pivot, and we shot up in that first 5 minute, right? But the setup for this trade in the short was the retest of this top central pivot right here, which was basically when you got that breakdown of VWAP, it's kind of the same thing. So if you get the rejection here, the retest, you had the sell-off, you pull back, test that zone, test the bottom of this price action right here, and then you get the sell-off, which was the breakdown of VWAP. Let me just hold on. I think sometimes this VWAP is a little different. Yeah, it's the same today. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just clear that up. Right, so if you take this off and just use the VWAP lines, the VWAP is the white line right there, and you could have taken this trade right here. You got the rejection of VWAP, the breakdown, and then you could enter the break low of this candle. Well, that's if you were using like the pivot levels solely. But I wasn't really using the pivot levels today. I was kind of more concentrated on the money zone. Let me just take off some of this stuff. Right. So yeah, I was kind of more looking at the money zone and stuff like that. Saw the breakdown here. I did see the retest, but I wasn't really paying too much attention to the central pivot levels, to be honest. Let's see. And then I actually took a second trade on this. Right, that's this trade right here. Let's go to my execution platform, right? Right, so for this trade right here, it was just like a little scalp. I was hoping to get back to like I think my target was 1550 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was like 1550, or it was 15. I can't exactly remember. But on the pullback here, even though I saw the big bid that took it up to this level, I was still looking at all the wick rejections. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, it's still kind of weak, right? And especially here when you start getting these kind of candles. So I took the short here because it had a lot of volume in this candle, right? But there's no continuation like from this candle right here. You know what I'm saying? And look at the size of that candle compared to the volume here on this candle, and look at the size of it, right? So all these are little indications I use to take my trades. So I went short here, had another doji candle up here, and then we got a little sell-off. Right now I don't really go too crazy on the partials. I guess I could have partialed out here when it started pulling back, but I didn't really want to, because it was a small share size. It's either the trade worked or it didn't work. So that's why I let this come back to like roughly like a break-even trade. I think it was like you got like 20 cents or something like that. 116.63 to 116.42. Yeah. So that was a little 20-cent scalp. But I was hoping for it to pull back a little more, but it ended up being like a typical day where, let me just, right, it's like a typical day where price kind of stays within range after the initial balance low is set. It just reversed into value. So we just kind of, it's like it didn't really have any real direction. It's just a trading day. They just traded, not just because, but they weren't really searching for any new value. They just stayed within value from like the previous day. Let's see here. Looking at the Camarilla setups, right? So there was the breakdown of S3. Well, this was an overlapping higher value. So when you're looking for confluence between indicators, it's a good thing to look for confluence because it shows you that it gives you more confidence in the probability of the trade working out. So this being R3 yesterday and this being oh, actually, my bad. This is actually a higher value relationship. So it's showing all confluence between the indicators. The pivot, the central pivot is higher, the money zone is higher, and the Camarilla levels is higher. And it's showing you where we're getting the rejection of that thesis, R3, got the sell-off, got the breakdown of S3. So you could have taken the breakdown of S3 here, which I think is kind of similar to my trade, but I wasn't looking. Let's see what level that was. 117.9, 118. Okay, so I guess it was a S3 breakdown. Yeah, so for my view, I was more looking at like the break of the previous low, like getting out of the price range of yesterday's price range. So I wasn't concentrating too much on the Camarilla levels. Let's see, go down to the 5-minute. Yeah. So that was basically the same kind of trade. You know what I'm saying? It's breaking that level, those lower levels and stuff. This level here, right? When it pulled back. Am I? No. 1 second. Let me see if I'm getting confused here. Right. Yeah. So I took the breakdown of these levels here. The chart is a little different here. This was the... Anyway, so yeah, I took the breakdown of the initial balance low right here. So I wasn't concentrating on the Camarillas and stuff too much. Anyway, let me stop babbling. That was my trade. It was a one... Well, I did the one and done. Had the other little scalp right here. And that was my trade for today. We profitable today. Sticking to the strategies, reading the level 2 at certain levels, making sure we on the right side of the probability because we don't know what's going to happen, you know. Even though big buyers come in or big sellers come in, it could still go against them as well. So we're just trying to go with the best probability, you know what I'm saying? All right, y'all, it's your boy Malak Shalomo, aka King Solomon. That was my trade for my trade recap for Tesla. And thanks for watching, and I appreciate everybody who sticks around and hit the like button and stuff like that. I appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying? All right, y'all, trade safe and stay blessed.